Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2 for week 14 Friday. How are you guys doing? Pause the video and answer the following questions for your warm-up log. All right, as you guys know that Earth Day is coming up this year, and this was a really cute little video that Google actually did for Earth Day. So I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys briefly before we get started. So here's Earth Day. Now, we didn't have Earth Day for the last 2 years because of the pandemic, but it's coming back for Idlewild Park this Sunday from 11 to 5. So if you have nothing else to do, you might want to go to Idlewild Park. There's going to be tons of stuff and food trucks and whatnot. So anyways, happy Earth Day. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to our stuff today. So this is the end of week 14. Safety grade 75%, final grade is 15% of your grade. If you get a 75% for the safety grade and you fail the final, you can still pass this class, so you don't have to take 2 classes next year for math. There's no curve, you get what you get, and that's basically it. So right now is the time for you guys to raise your grade at least up to a 75%. This week is almost done. When we're done with this week, we're going to go ahead and move on to next week, which is week 15, and that starts on the 25th. Everything in green that's highlighted are the remaining weeks. In the yellow are your week of the finals for this class. So that's kind of all that we have left, you guys. It's just basically 6 more weeks until final. So last class was on Thursday. You guys should have watched the video. I went over exponential growth and decay with you guys with graphing and whatnot. I went over some of the examples, and then I had you guys do the examples on your own on a calculator. And then after that, you guys had a decimals activity. You're supposed to jot down the summary of what you found and justify your response. And then that's what we did. We did get a brand new guided note packet. So if you turned in your last one, make sure you go to this link to get your submission pen, because that's essentially what I'm using to grade you on it. And as I look at your guided notes over the weekend. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure you guys do that. Does anybody need a copy of the new guided notes? I know I left some for your sub, but if you still need another copy, I have some extras right here. This is going to be the last packet that you guys have until the end of the semester. Our last month is essentially just going to be on this material here. Does everybody have a copy of it? Okay, awesome. All right, so then with that said, this week you guys have week 14, Wednesday, and also your homework. So 10 questions for your homework, 5 questions for your quiz. So 15 questions altogether. So if you have not submitted that yet, it is due by Sunday, 11 p.m., but it's been given to you guys since Monday of this week. Most likely, if you were here on Wednesday, you should have finished your quiz because it's only 5 questions. Let's take a look at our YouTube channel to see how many items we still have here. So you guys have 64 videos, and yesterday's Thursday video is right here. If there's anything that you've been absent for, all the class sessions are video recorded. So if you've been absent and if you look at your grade and you're like, my grade for week 14 is really low, watch the videos, do the assignments on the videos. You can write on a separate piece of paper and then just turn it in from you, and I'll give you part of the grades back. So yeah. So for those of you guys on Zoom, 64 videos up to this week, so you should have that. All right, so today we're going to talk about exponential models, and this is Friday, so this is where we are. And take a look at the breakdown of what we have. So today we're going to talk about, with your activity, a summary of exponential transformation on graphs. We're going to do a cut and paste activity of all the graphs. I have a Desmos, and then I have a Padlet exit activity for you guys. So the materials you'll need if you're at home for you Zoomies are scissors and a glue stick. And so with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, first thing I'm going to do is you are going to cut out each of the boxes of this paper. Look carefully at the mixed up boxes because they are mixed up below, and decide in which column and row they belong to on the grid. Each need to be classified as linear, quadratic, absolute value, or exponential functions. So we've talked about linear, quadratic, absolute value. And then since now this is a new one, I want to give you guys a summary of where this new unit falls into place with everything else that we've talked about. So with that said, these are the little boxes that you will be cutting out. So the paper that you guys have looks like this. You will be cutting out this stuff, and then you will be pasting onto here, okay? So in looking at this, take a look at linear, exponential, absolute value, quadratic. So on your paper right here, make sure you guys write down that linear is like y equals mx plus b. Exponential is y equals like b to the x. Absolute value is y equals, with the little bars, absolute value x. And quadratic is y equals x squared, okay? So this is like a summary of all the different equations and type of equations that we've talked about. Then on the side, notice that the first one, it asks you for a definition. So figure out which definition it is for linear, exponential, absolute value, quadratic. Which equation does it match up here? Which real life situation matches up here? Which table demonstrates the equation appropriately? And which graph matches that? I don't know about you guys, but I think I'd probably start off with a graph, because graph is the most evident of the differences there. So if I'm starting out with graph, I know that a linear will look like a straight line. I know an exponential is like something's very small and then it grows very fast, okay, like a curve. I know an absolute value is always in the shape of a V, and a quadratic is an x squared, which is like a happy face. So I will start right there with the graphs, okay? And then once you have the graph, maybe match it up with the equation, because the equations are pretty easy to figure out. And then maybe after the equation, you should start off with the definition. So I put third right there. And then after the definition, then go to the real world situation. And then lastly is the table is probably the hardest one to like match up, because the tables, the numbers are all there, but it's kind of hard to figure out which one matches with which. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys, if you're on Zoom, to go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and start filling out this chart, cut out the little squares, and then paste it on there. For those of you guys in class, I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to do this, and then we'll reconvene together. All right, so if you guys need a little bit of assistance with this table, so I'm going to go ahead and share you guys. These are the graphs that I pasted on there, so pretty simple with most part. And then, of course, the equation looks like this. The biggest one that I thought was really difficult was the fact that with exponential, remember that your x is always as an exponent. That's the one indicator. Everything else is pretty simple. Like quadratic has a square, absolute value has the bars, linear just have like a regular equation that is a straight line. Okay, and so then with your definitions, you can take a look at your definitions, but I know that for the linear one, it's a function that is graphed as a straight line, keyword straight line. For exponential, it is a partial curve. So, and it says very fast increasing. So that's exponential. That's how you know. For absolute value, it is in a V shape. So that's pretty simple to figure out. Quadratic is a parabola or U shape, but I use like happy face and sad face. So those are fairly simple for the most part. Then right now, I want you guys to kind of finish this up by focusing on the real world situation and then also on the tables. So spend like another 3 more minutes and then we will go ahead and move on. So if you would like to check your answers with a real life situation, these are my answers. Like the first one for linear is John currently has $45 in his wallet. He's earning $2 every newspaper he sells. So that will be a linear. For exponential, like last year, Gertrude counts her tulips in her garden. Over the past few years, she noticed a definite pattern that the number of tulips triples. Triples is going up really, really quickly. Okay, so that will be exponential function where it just kind of like increases exponentially. For absolute value, Jasmine's mother tells that she can travel 3 miles from her house in either direction. The either direction is a plus and minus for the absolute values, east or west. So then when she's traveling, she has 2 different opposite diverging paths. Okay, and then of course the quadratic is the smiley face. Coach Coal kicks a soccer ball in the air. And then of course the students measure the height of the ball from start to finish. If you think about it, if you kick a soccer ball up, the soccer ball goes up and then it goes down, right? So therefore it creates a sad face in the situation. And of course, the table that is used is right there. So you have the answers right in front of you. So take another 2 more minutes, finish this activity. We're going to the next one. Okay, so our next part I'm gonna have you guys work on is this part right here. So you should have the second worksheet in front of you. So you should be done with the one that is on pasting and cutting with the summary. Now we're moving on to graphing exponential functions. So everybody go ahead and turn over to this page, please. Yours might be like a little bit sideways, but just rotate it. And I have a quick video that's gonna go over this, and you're gonna be jotting down the answers in the empty boxes. You see the empty boxes right there? All right, you guys. So if you didn't get all of that, that's okay, because I'm going to go over it with you guys one more time. So let's just start from the very beginning. Okay, so this is what you have. Graphing exponential functions. It's always f of x equals a, which is a number in front, b, which is a number inside the parenthesis, and the exponent is when it is raised to like an exponent. That's why it's called an exponential function. So your x is always another power on top, the little number, and then x plus h plus k. Okay, so first box that you have here that I'm going to highlight in orange, the minus h always tells you if it's going left or to the right. So it's going to give you a horizontal shift. So if it's a negative h, you're actually going to go to the right. I know you're like, why don't we just go to the left? You're not going to the left, you're going to the right. And if it's a positive h, you're going to go to the left. Next box you need to go ahead and write down, and I'm highlighting them with you guys, is K. K tells you a vertical shift. So it's either going up or down. K also tells you the horizontal asymptote of your graph. Okay, so if it's a positive K, you go up. If it's a negative K, you go down. The next thing you need to copy down is going to be right here, right here. And that equation is f of x is equal to 3 parentheses 2. And one thing that you need to know about this is that with the parentheses 2, so right there, if that b is greater than 1, it will be a growth. So in this case, it's a growth because 2 is bigger than 1. But if b is smaller than 1, like if it's in a fraction, it will be a decay. You should also jot down a growth looks like this, where you have small numbers and then it grows very, very quickly up to a big number. Decay is you're starting with something and then automatically drops down, like the human race population. If everyone got bitten by zombies and then we all turn to zombies, so there's no more human beings on Earth. Okay, now you can sign in. Oh, did you sign in, my dear?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your last name?
Huh?
What's your last name?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's your last name? Oh, what letter is that? Hard, okay. Okay, so I have to trace the word. Okay, yeah, we don't want you to be in here if you're in the wrong class. Make sure you go to the right class, that way you get credit for it. Okay, thank you. Have a great Friday. All right, you guys. So then let's go ahead and take a look over here. Keep in mind that when you have the -4, like I said, it shifts over to the right because it's opposite. Okay. And then when you have a -1, it means you're going to go down by 1 step. And if you can't see it, I'm going to move it up a little bit further up. So just a little bit better. Does anybody have any extra yellow paper floating around? Extra yellow papers by chance? No? Okay. If you have any extras, I'll just take them. All right, let's move on. Here we go. So then we're going to go over to the second part of this, and you guys have several other things you're going to be highlighting or writing down. And I'm going to move this down a little bit. There we go. First thing you need to write down is if your parent function is going to be this part right here. Okay, if that's your parent function. We're going to go ahead and have that put into a table. And so here on the right side, the basic parent table for exponentials, your x value is going to be 0. That y value is going to represent the a. If your x value is 1, your y value is a times b. And I know that doesn't make any sense yet, but just give it a second. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is for this one specific one, if your x value is 0 and 1, your y value, and if you remember where your a and b's are, remember your 3 is your a, so your a is 3, your b is 2, right? So then if x is 0, y is just a, so your y is just whatever a is. And what is your a? 3, so that's just 3. And then for your 1, when x is 1, your y is going to be a times b. So then what is 3 times 2? You should have a 6. And the part I'm highlighting is what you need to copy down because those are the blanks. So then for step 2, we're going to talk about the shifts. Right 4, so x is going to go up 4, and then down 1, so x is going to go down 1 from y. And if that's the case, how is your chart going to look differently than that? If x is 4 and y is 5, your y is now going to become a 2 and a 5. And the reason how we got that, if you're like, I don't understand how you got that, Callahan, remember x's is going up or over right 4, so that's your x. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, so that's what's happening to your x's. Now with your y's, what's happening with your y's is that you have 3 minus 1 because it's shifting by 1 down. So 3 minus 2 or 3 minus 1 gives me a 2. That's for the y's. 6 minus 1 gives me a 5. And then on the very bottom where it says reminder, just keep in mind that if the b value is less than 1, it is a decay. And I just totally realized I drew the picture wrong. I'm so sorry. Hold on a second. Let me go back to the first one. So give me 1 second. So my picture here is incorrect. It doesn't look like that. Your decay looks like, hold on a second. What did it look like again? Oh yeah. Okay. So now I got it. So your decay picture right here is going to be from somewhere really far up, and then it's going to come down like that. That's your decay picture. Sorry, that was my fault. Because visually, I'm thinking like, okay, it should technical, but if you do that, it's like a reflection on the x-axis. That's not correct. So the first one with the growth, you're starting small and you're getting bigger very quickly. Okay. The second one with the decay is you have a lot of big numbers, but then you're getting very small very quickly. So that is the decay. And I should really put my little thing like this. So there we go. Okay, let's go back to this then. And then of course, if B is greater than 1, just remember it is a growth. So once again, the part that I'm highlighting are the answers that you want to write down. And that's it. That is going to be your function for doing this. All right, so you should be done with your notes on this. You should be done with your cutouts. And I'm gonna have you guys hold on to this, but I want you guys to turn in your cutouts for me. Okay, so the cutout part you need to turn in. We still have about 4 more minutes left of class for your exit ticket today. I'm gonna have you guys, we didn't have time for the Desmos, but we'll do it next time. So go to this QR code. And basically what this is asking you guys is that, you know, rent here in Nevada is really expensive, but it could technically be worse because if you lived in New York City, your rent could technically look like this. People move to New York because of the diversity. It's a fast-paced area, lots of innovation and culture. But for $2,800, this is what you're purchasing over at New York, where your kitchen and your living room are exactly in the same space. Or you might have a bathtub right next to your kitchen. Or you might have, you know, your view of a brick wall. Or in this case, I don't think this is really that bad. You have your washer with your oven in your kitchen together. A lot of European countries have that. Or you have your living room, or actually it's technically your bedroom, alongside with your shower stall. Or in this case, you have your oven with your dishwasher just stuck together. So anyways, you guys have a few minutes, 3 minutes. Go ahead and go to the QR code and answer the following 4 questions. Make sure your name is on it so that way I can give you points for your efforts.